about some of the concerns with the technology. I have been looking into blue light glasses and the effectiveness of them. My daughter has them, and she says that they are lifesavers in terms of her being on her computer doing all that work. I ordered some online to try them out. And I've had conversations with Council Member Andrew Friedson and some others. I've been looking into potentially finding a private investor who might want to sponsor purchasing these for our students. I have, like I said, done some research, and I've gotten a rough amount on what it would cost for retail. But myself and someone who was interning with me this summer have reached out to some of the companies that make them to see if we could get them at a more wholesale price. So I'm mentioning it to you because I will share with you the costs and stuff. I don't know if it's something you want to have conversations with the council about. I know that a lot of the information seems new and so maybe not conclusive. I don't know, but I just thought in terms of, I do have concerns about how much the screen time and how much we're hearing from parents and teachers about their concerns with screen time. So it just might be a little something that we could look into doing to help provide one measure of safety for headaches, blurry visions. There's a long list of potential concerns that the blue light glasses are, supposedly help with. So I'll forward you that information. I just wanted to mention to you that Councilmember Friedson and I have had multiple conversations about it, and it might be something worth looking into.
I'm a parent in Montgomery County, and I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about some really important things that I have been learning. All of our students are using internet way more than we ever imagined that they would be, and there are best practices for doing it safely without using the Wi-Fi. According to the New Jersey Education Association article, Minimize Health Risks from Electronic Devices specifically recommends using wires and cables such as this Ethernet adapter, USB to Ethernet. Totally simple, very easy. My kids do it themselves. They've been doing it for years in school as well as now at home. The New Jersey Education Association published in their article a list of things that people can do to help reduce the dangers of brain damage and other health risks from Wi-Fi. For example, keeping your device away from your body. This is really important. If your kids are laying in bed, they're just sitting there with a device on their body. Carrying their phones off of their body. Using all of your devices hardwired that can connect to the internet. That's where this comes in. We all used to use Ethernet cords, so it's just really doing what we know, and what we know is that is 100% safer. We want to make sure that printers, projectors, and other kinds of boards are wired and plugged in. Hardwired phones as opposed to cell phones, and putting your devices, and that can be laptops as well as cell phones, on airplane mode, which suspends the emission of EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. So if you disable your Bluetooth, your GPS, etc., you are not continuously exposing your body to harmful wireless radiation. So I am calling on the Board of Education in Montgomery County to please step up and be sure that all families have this knowledge that I found, so that they can make informed choices about connecting to the internet more safely and honestly much more reliably. We never get kicked off our internet. We can have multiple kids using the internet at the same time when we simply use wires and turn off the Wi-Fi. So this is how I plug in my Chromebook. I simply take the Ethernet cord, which we're all familiar with, right into this adapter. Simple, inexpensive. I plug it right into the Chromebook. Voila. It will automatically say Ethernet connection found.
all the kids are on screens for hours every day, starting even with the kindergartners. And most children and their parents are using Wi-Fi in order to connect to the internet. Now, I firmly believe that every child should have access to education and every family should have connections to the internet. However, it is important that they not receive wireless radiation at the same time. Companies can fix this by providing wired internet access for all families. It does not have to be that kids are using mobile hotspots or using Wi-Fi. This wireless radiation is linked in published, peer-reviewed science to a multitude of health impacts, which include DNA damage, changes to reproduction, impacts to the brain, and of course cancer. For most of these effects, we wouldn't notice them for years and years. And right now we're talking about hours every day of exposure. I would like to ask that the board take action to ensure that students have Ethernet cords and that they work with the companies who are donating hardware and software, that they donate safe Ethernet as well as Ethernet adapters. Wired, non-wireless connections are faster and safer and more secure. When a child is sitting in front of an iPad or a laptop, that device is emitting wireless frequencies which the body is absorbing. So I understand that it might seem highly inconvenient, and how could anyone raise this in the midst of all the changes that we're making? But actually, it's the perfect time to raise this issue, because right now, when our health is so important, we need to make sure that we're taking every step. When the county looked into this years ago, they did radiation measurements that compared the levels in the school to the FCC safety thresholds. However, the FCC limits are not protective, not by a long shot. I'm not talking 10 to 20 times. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of times too high to protect our health. There also is inaccurate information that is up on the MCPS website, and it needs to be corrected. Our organization is actually in historic legal action against the FCC for having these guidelines from 1996, not changing them, and refusing to look at the latest science or to listen to scientists. There are literally hundreds of scientists who are stating that exposure needs to be reduced. Please listen to the scientists.
Next, we will hear from Stacy Lynch and Margaret Bower.
Good afternoon, MCPS staff and Board of Education members. My name is Lisa Klein, and I chair the MCCPTA Safe Technology Committee. I have been in receipt of hundreds of messages regarding the rocky return to learning, and I've attached 14 pages of them to my written testimony. All of them have to do with excessive screen time. It's not an overstatement to say that our kids are suffering from too much screen time. Their very interest in learning is in jeopardy. But it's not just the screens. It's the deluge of apps behind the screens that are not evidence-based and that gamify education. Fortunately, we know what to do. 1 year ago, Maryland law tasked MSDE to create healthy screen time guidelines. This includes screen breaks every 20 minutes to stretch, refocus, and blink. I urge you to recirculate this best practices document to teachers as soon as today. We also need books. Reading is the most tried, true, and equitable method of learning. No passwords, plugs, help desk, or blue light glasses required. When have we ever heard pediatricians warn against too much reading, like they warn about screen time? Reading also relieves stress, so if ever there were a time for books, it's now. Bring out paper and pencils. Workbooks have not been delivered universally as promised, and some are even being used with the Chromebooks, so I'm not sure what the point is there. As you know, cognition and retention improve greatly when kids, all of us in fact, handwrite our notes, questions, and papers. Another solution worth exploring is outdoor classrooms. In 1918, this was a successful strategy during the Spanish flu, and now there is a lot of enthusiasm in our county for this. I spoke with greenschoolyards.org, and they have assembled an emergency team of landscape designers and educators to create pro bono blueprints, especially for Title I schools, and they're offering to consult with MCPS. Finally, independent study projects. Let's turn our homes into workshops. Let kids build, write, design, create for a grade. They'd simultaneously build essential life skills, such as creativity and independence. And why not have something to show that's tangible for this unique time in history? My final note is just a few sentences that I'll share with you that I received Friday from a parent, and I thought it was especially poignant. She says about her sixth grader, "Not a day goes by that my child does not beg me to stop the computer learning." She says she feels she can recover from COVID, but not from the impact of all the forced screen time. Thank you all very much.
And